You weren't the referee for Mankind versus Undertaker when Mick gets thrown off Hell in a Cell, but you're there front and center right after he goes through the announce table.
Yeah.
What's the conversation look like?
Man, so they wanted him on, he got on a stretcher one time, right?
But even before that, like the announce table's on him. He's laying there for a long time.
We're just making sure he's okay.
And Terry Funk looks like he's just losing his mind.
Right. He's losing his mind. Right. And I mean, that was just, it was amazing. That just brought wrestling to a whole nother level, right? A whole nother level. I mean, what he did for the boys and the business, Mick Foley, was unbelievable. He put his life out there. And he didn't know whether it was going to go terribly wrong or, I mean, nobody really knew. So, but when he took that bump, we were just making sure he was okay out there. And at that time, we couldn't communicate back to Gorilla, but we can hear through the earpiece, But now you can communicate both ways. You can hear, plus you can communicate back to Gorilla. So there's a lot of things that you'd give him the arms raised up. He's okay. This, of course, the X was, he's badly hurt, badly injured. And then I remember him getting on the stretcher one time. And then they wanted him back on the stretcher. And then Mick said to me, he goes, Mike, he goes, have I been on that stretcher already? I said, yeah, Mick, you're on it one time already. He goes, and I'm not getting back on that stretcher. And he was like, and they're like, get him on the stretcher, God damn it. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he doesn't want to go on a stretcher, like.
Is that when he's pulling away from you and Terry Funk, like, get off of me, and he goes and climbs the cell again?
Yes,
to continue the match?
Yes, and
he's insane.
So we didn't want it. Comes through the cage now.
Yes.
Right? We're in there. And I'm like.
Had he dislocated his shoulder?
I didn't know what he had done at that point, but I seen something up in his nose, right?
And this is after he went through the.
Yeah, and you could tell he was just, concussed, right? Like I said, those days we just said, oh man, you got your bell rung. But, he was, I'm sure, concussed very bad. And I remember seeing something way up, like all up in his nose, and I'm like, Mick, holy shit, I think you got this booger up in your nose. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get this booger? I'm going to try and wipe it with something or try and get it out so he could breathe through his nose because it was just actually blocking his whole nose, And then I realized, I was like, oh shit, Mick, this is your tooth. It was his tooth that went right through up into his nose, right through his lip, boom, up in his nose. And I was like, oh shit, that's your tooth. Like, crazy, man, crazy stuff,
Wow.
And, so it's, it was unbelievable. And we carried him way back. And I remember Vince coming up to Terry Funk. Me and Terry, like Funk, were carrying him. And Vince came up. He was like, Mick, are you okay? He's like, great job, and he was just like, giving him a lot of great things to say because what he had just done for WWE. And,
yeah.
What he put his body on the line and took the whole business to another level, man. It just, the buzz was so much, right?
Yeah.
Everybody couldn't stop talking about it. Monday Raw, it was just like, people were just like, they were just shocked. It was amazing. This was in Pittsburgh. Now, I'm a huge Steeler fan, right? But this crowd sometimes was always so very quiet at times, But man, after they took that bump, after he came off the cage and the other crowd was like, oh, shoot, like they came unglued.
And what people forget is that wasn't the main event.
Right.
Which is wild.
Right.
Kane ended up winning the championship in the main event, which I think a lot of people forget when and where that was.
Right.
Foley came out and was part of that main event.
Yes.
After everything he had been through.
Amazing. I know. That's why I really don't know if he did dislocate it, but if he did dislocate his shoulder, like I've heard stories with him, he's told me and things and seen matches with him where he has worked with so many injuries and got through everything, like I remember the time where he took like 11 shots to the head from Rock with the chair. And I was out, the shots were not no easy shots either. They were just full blown out chair shots.
Handcuffed at one point.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know.
That was wild.
Yes, it was wild.